Well, our good buddy Tony Khan has had himself a pretty rough week this week, starting with the build-up to his big head-to-head situation he was going into with NXT. Tony Khan already probably pissy because he had to have his night moved to Tuesday from Wednesday, but he stacked the card. And then NXT was stacking their card too because they were trying to prove a point. They were going to squash AEW like a fucking bug. That was their goal. That is undeniable that was their goal. And this set Mr. Tony Khan off. Nick Hausman over at House of Wrestling had tweeted that Triple H and Shawn Michaels look to send Tony Khan a message. And that's exactly what they sought out to do. Tony Khan's show was going to be on their night, Tuesday. Remember, they had already they had to move to Tuesday because they got their ass kicked on Wednesday. I don't care what anybody says. That's exactly what happened. It was the better move, too, because more nights on more wrestling, everybody wins. But they were intent to prove a point on Tuesday night as they stacked the card with, literally stacked the fucking card with John Cena, with fucking LA Knight, The Undertaker. And I hear people saying, oh, they didn't advertise The Undertaker. Bullshit. They put the gong in the fucking ad. You don't put the gong in the ad if he's not going to be there. You're just stacking the card. They trotted Jade Cargill out onto the fucking show to put up against her ex-company. They had Cody Rhodes come out to make a special announcement. What's Cody Rhodes gonna say? What's his special announcement? Tune in. Are we watching NXT or are we watching fucking WWE All-Stars? The fucking all the heavy hitters. The fucking, they're bringing on legends out of retirement for this show. This is like fucking Raw 25. But it's on NXT. Weird. But they're trying to prove a point. And that's exactly what they sought out to do. And that's what they did. They decimated Tony Khan, AEW, in the ratings. Both of them under 1 million. But NXT, 900,000 and change to AEW's sad and pathetic 600,000 and change. Though the key demographic was about the same, roughly, give or take. NXT still taking out the edge here. But you see, Tony Khan did not take too kindly to this. He says, I have a message for them. And he tweeted this bald asshole picture, which I think I've heard is from a TV show or something of some kind. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it went on. Then they go they even went as far as to do like the overtimes and shit, right? We're gonna have a run over both NXT and AEW back and forth. Oh, I'm gonna do a fucking first NXT, I believe, said first their first 30 minutes are gonna be no commercial. So then Tony Khan says, okay, well my first 30 minutes are no commercial too. Maybe even a little bit more. Maybe my first 32 minutes are no commercial. Fuck you. And then one of them, I don't even remember who said they were going to fucking have a little bit of a run over. I don't know if it was NXT's rebuttal to that. They're going to be like, yeah, we'll run a little long. Tony Khan says, yeah, we'll run a little bit long too. My dick's big too, see? Could have been vice versa. It doesn't matter at this point. Who cares? And Tony Khan's like, you know what? We're going to do a fucking buy-in. And we're going to put Eddie Kingston on there and put his fucking all 7 of his titles on the line. This was a war. And it got under Tony Khan's skin, as you can see over here, hyping up his shit. Did anybody feel like Dynamite was close to perfection? No, probably not. Thank you all for watching Dynamite. I thought last night was one of our best shows. I think somebody had replied to that. I should go check out. He's got replies, right? I don't know. I'm skipping around. It doesn't matter. You've seen all the tweets, right? He's got this one. Everybody's done this. Yes, Vince allegedly shot his shot. Used his power to shoot his shots. Trying to take his little hits this week. With all due respect, The Undertaker and John Cena, right? That was the coldest one. He's talking about fucking how they were, never, the first time they were ever under 1 million was up against AEW. He's trying to pull literally anything he can out of the blue and somebody had made the point, I don't remember who I was listening to, but somebody had said, yeah, you could flip that around. I think it was Cornette. Somebody said, by that logic, you could flip it around and say, well, this was Edge's lowest rated fucking time on, I think it was Cornette that said that. So Tony Khan continues, and now he's saying that it's his fucking mom, this is my mom. And she was the reason that it made it personal. His mom in the Mayo Clinic, God bless her, not knocking her, not going to be that guy. But apparently there's a lot of those guys on the interwebs. A lot of people taking jabs at Tony, taking jabs at his mom. He's under a lot of heat and a lot of stress. And I think it was also possibly Cornette or maybe Brian Last who had said that maybe, it's because of his family. Maybe the health issues. Maybe he's cracking due to other things. But his tweets are getting away with him again. He's making an ass of himself online. Even Rene Dupre, who nobody cares about, even he's talking about that. Everybody and their mom's got a fucking video. That's why I said, you've seen all the tweets. I'm just adding to them. You've seen everybody else do that and do it probably better. Everybody's got their comments. Oh, Tony's going insane. Blah, 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 blah. Perhaps he is. Rene Dupre has some advice for him if he is going insane. Check out this clip from his Café de Rene. Café de la Rene. Something like that. Check this out.
This business can fuck with your head mentally. Do you agree, Jason?
Yeah. To say the least.
To say the least. Tony's in a position where he's dealing with the biggest money contracts, I think, in history as far as professional wrestling.
Yeah, well said.
The biggest numbers, biggest names, excuse me. He's going up against the biggest promotion. He's got to learn to control his emotions.
Big time.
With social media the way it is today, if he lets it get to him, he could wind up in a fucking mental institution. Okay? Yeah. I'm serious. I'm serious. Well, I've seen
true.
It.
It's true. I've lived it. It's true.
Right. Right? And we're laughing and stuff, but it's fucking dead serious.
Get some better lighting and sit up in your chair, dickhead. I don't like Rene Dupre. I think he's a smug fuck. Every once in a while, they have good conversations on his show. I do drop in from time to time, as it is my job, to find all the best clips from all the top podcasts and some of the not so top podcasts. Hey, myself included. What are we talking about here? But even Rene Dupre had advice for Tony Khan. And some real advice. He's like, no, I'm serious. This shit will drive you crazy. Is Tony Khan going crazy? He might be. But it just continues to get worse for Tony Khan. I did try to scroll more and find the exact tweets, but I'm not getting lost in all that madness. But it was reported on, I had first heard it with on Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru podcast this week, that Tony Khan had gotten into it with another fan online, this time involving the storyline, the sensitive topic storyline that occurred between Juice Robinson and MJF on Dynamite this week, which appeared to be in pretty poor taste considering what's going on over in other parts of the world currently. So that's a very divisive, hot topic going on right now, and it was probably not a good idea to put that on the show. And check out this clip as Cornette obviously is going to explain it much better than I will from the Jim Cornette's Drive-Thru, and we'll catch you on the other side of that. And a fan had tweeted about that, essentially, and Tony Khan had inboxed this motherfucker and was like, hey, and explained it to him, kind of called him out, like, hey, bro, I got your point after, like, the 5th tweet or whatever. And dude went public with that.
There's a Twitter user named Travis Akers, or Ackers, I'm not exactly sure. He retweeted a TMZ article, AEW criticized for running anti-Semitic storyline amid war in Israel. And he said, we were watching AEW when this happened live last night. It was tasteless and a horrible decision by Tony Khan to pursue an angle woven with anti-Semitism. We changed the channel. AEW lost me as a fan with this one, which sucks because I really enjoyed their product. I felt similar to that too, so I understand. But Tony Khan jumped into Travis's DMs. I got the point that you didn't like the angle on the second tweet, Travis. Message was received hours ago. I don't think quote tweeting TMZ is doing much good. And then Travis responded, how often do you slide into a fan's DMs to mock a legitimate critique?
Heels have to be able to offend people to be heels, but not in this timing.
Yeah, you couldn't use the quarters at all right now because
No.
MJF introduced the quarters into this lexicon of AEW with the anti-Semitic story, the story being bullied. He's told it a couple times. So any usage of the quarters here, no matter what it was going to take everyone back to that. The roll of quarters didn't even say MJF. Friedman.
It's a Friedman.
Who's ever called him Friedman on that show? No
Nobody.
one. Apparently, Juice Robinson has been using the roll of quarters for years. Now, you wouldn't know that if you watch AEW TV. That's my point. So anyone who's saying, well, this clearly is just tying back not to MJF's thing, but to Juice's thing. How would anyone watching this show know that? The only thing you know is MJF's quarter story. No one else is talking about fucking quarters in wrestling.
The point is, it was one dimensional. It was obvious what they were doing. It was in bad taste because of the timing. Because of, people actually getting killed. And it just, nobody along that chain of command thought, maybe the quarters is too much.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's not great. That's a bad judgment call on the part of Tony Khan. I think Tony Khan needs a break. That's what I think. I think he needs a vacation. I think he needs to step down as the fucking booker. He needs to Vince McMahon himself. Be the decider, not the fucking creator. Hire people to create and then just say, nope, 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 yes, yes. Mix those two. Do this instead of that, but yes. Be that guy. Instead, he wants to fucking play with his action figures, I mean, he's making an ass of himself. And, this coming off of all the shit that he was previously just went through with CM Punk. And this week he did an interview where he was asked about this. This was with, let me get this name right here, Dan LeBatard. LeBatard is a ESPN host. I don't know much about him, so he's either is on ESPN or recently left ESPN. But he's got what appears to be a dope little show, a Pat McAfee-esque, I guess. He's got a group of boys sitting around. There's a bunch of people, and they interviewed Tony Khan. And Tony Khan fell into his same old bag of tricks, the same old dodging every question like a fucking dirty politician, only with a nerdy stutter, and just tiptoeing around everything and then weaving it back into promoting this big show we got going on tonight. And for the first time ever, I mean, look, Ariel Helwani did a really good job of kind of trying to press Tony before. If you remember that whole interview debacle where Tony did the same thing. But these guys just kind of unleashed. They're like, Tony, stop it. You got your plug in. Answer the fucking question. This was great. This was brilliant. Check out this clip.
At that show, you guys managed to put on the biggest show in wrestling history at Wembley Stadium, but you were dealing with a nightmare scenario backstage as one of your performers got into a fight with another one of your performers. You've come out and publicly said something happened back there where you feared for your life, and this is all surrounding Phil Knight, a.k.a. CM Punk, who's now no longer with the company. I know that there's a lot of specifics that maybe you can't get into.
No, get into the specifics.
I want to talk about the managing that scenario. It flashing before your eyes, oh my God, this is happening right now, and having to put on a show as one of your top performers, top billed performers, a star that was on all the marquees, has lunged towards you in a threatening manner.
Well, I don't really want to talk about it, but I will say that I was really glad that the event came out as one of the best shows I've ever seen in pro wrestling. It was over 81,000 tickets sold, 81,035 tickets exactly. And the crowd was amazing, the show was amazing, and the wrestling was amazing. Everybody who wrestled on the show from start to finish did a great job. The fans were behind it. It was one of the biggest pay-per-views we've ever done, and we set huge milestones, really, that this company is all about. That really, when AEW began, it began as a love letter to pro wrestling for the fans. We had never gone to Europe and done a show. We debuted there with one of the biggest wrestling events in the history of the world. And yes, it was a challenging day backstage. Without getting into the specifics, it was a hard day, but when the show was over, I think we were all really proud, and everybody held their head high that this is one of the best wrestling shows anybody's ever done, and AEW were the ones that did it.
I'm going to tag in Dan real quick so he can actually get like the real news-making answer after I apologize for making CM Punk the inventor of Nike.
That's a fine.
A punk move by Tony. He asked you a question, and you've been at the fight game a long time. A total non-answer at the beginning, and then just unrelenting promotion because you're a dirty fight game promoter, and you didn't come close.
There's people doing a lot worse stuff in the fight game than
You're right, Tony.
No,
I got to say, like,
that's a bull. Look, no, it's bull. Something happened. I want to know
what happened back there.
What happened back there?
Happened?
Don't give
Did
us.
Phil Brooks attack you?
I can't talk about it. What is that? You came on, and I'm like, this guy always answers the questions.
You
honestly.
said you feared for your life.
You promoted this thing a couple of different times. All right, you got your promotion on. It's tonight. You got a ratings.
I'm glued to Title Tuesday.
Give me some of the good shit.
Did he throw a punch at you?
What happened back there?
I have not really gone out and discussed that publicly beyond what I said in Chicago. I had to make a really hard decision after what happened, and I really appreciate all the fans standing by us and supporting AEW through this. And we're having a huge show tonight, and like I said, I am promoting tonight's show, but I also am not saying anything that I haven't said before.
Why not? That's useless.
But we're special. Say it to us.
something-
Whisper
I
it to
don't
us.
want
Tony,
you-
stay strong.
Did he punch you with the left or right hand? Did he make contact?
You haven't said before.
Did you need an ice pack?
Do you not understand how promotion works? We don't want the same things you've said before. We want a little bit extra.
Just give us a little something.
Who wins tonight?
Well, that's a good question. About
Damn it, Billy, he was getting there.
See, I really appreciate you giving me that out.
Damn it, Billy, he was getting there. He said okay.
That from the Dan LeBatard show. Again, link down in the description for all of these clips. And Tony Khan was hard pressed, but look, he kept his smile, he kept his composure. He didn't like yell or push back or take an attitude with them like he might have with an Ariel Helwani, for example. Couple of nerds nerding at each other, though I think Ariel would just beat the dog shit out of Tony Khan. Still a couple of nerds nerding at each other, but Tony did get a lot of pushback here, and he still danced around it and gave non-answers. But for more insight of, what's it like working with a crazy weirdo guy like this? And do people take advantage of him? Matt Hardy was talking about Tony Khan, his boss. Now, mind you, Tony Khan is the guy that pays Matt Hardy. He writes his checks for him. So keep that all into consideration with these answers. But John Alba on the extreme life of Matt Hardy podcast was kind of asking Matt all the interesting questions. I wouldn't say tough questions, but Alba wasn't afraid to kind of ask questions like, do people take advantage of Tony Khan?
And I say this so wholeheartedly, and I know the losers out there will say, "Oh, look at this mark, all this stuff." I find Tony Khan to be a very genuine person. Can he be a lot to handle sometimes? Certainly so. We are seeing it this week on social media, right? But I find him to be a very genuine, good human being. And I have many examples to fall back on personally as far as that's concerned. And then you see the examples that are expressed by other wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Does he have that good-naturedness and vulnerability perhaps taken advantage of at times by talent or people in the industry?
Yes. I mean, I think it has happened in the past for sure. But, I think once you go through those experiences, you learn from them. And I think Tony has done that. I mean, he's learning on the fly. This whole thing is like, it's a huge, huge responsibility to be a wrestling promoter, booker, run a company, especially with all the other stuff he has going on. So yeah, he's learning on the job while he's doing it. And I'm sure there's been people that have taken advantage of his kindness. But he will continue to learn and grow, and he will be able to get past that, I'm sure, going forward.
So to kind of put a bow on all of this with my thoughts here, I think Tony Khan needs a break. Dude needs to go on vacation. He needs a writer's. Here's what he needs. Don't hire writers. I would hire a writer, maybe two, like Hollywood style writers, but really just kind of have them in the room to have that, like, for story structure purposes. Because as good as, say, like if they were to bring Matt Hardy into the creative room, he might not know the exact way that a TV could be structured or should be structured, or a storyline beats that spread out over multiple shows. Bring in writers from like soap operas that really know how to drag shit out. You ever watch a soap opera? Those motherfuckers will do a story that they have to do a new episode every single day. So they will literally just have an episode where they're just sitting in a room and having a conversation, but it moves the plot just a hair. And over time, you get the big angles and the big reveals and the big twists and stuff, but you really build up to them. And I think, you don't want to do it, obviously not daily, but look, they have 3 shows. Not everybody needs to be on every show, but if you get a couple writers, one for every show even perhaps, just to kind of sit in the room for the story arcs, right? Then you bring in a creative team from people that know the business better than Tony Khan does. And that was a little bit of a slip there because following that clip from Matt Hardy, I think Matt Hardy would be one person I would bring in. He's a creative mind. He comes from the old school, and he lived through he was a megastar in the Attitude Era, but he also seems to have a better understanding of what today's generation is trying. He's more likely to understand an Orange Cassidy and a Young Bucks and these type of performers. Danhausen, you know what I mean? Like Hardy kind of gets that. I would also try to bring in an older school guy that did a lot of booking and shit for like Puerto Rico, like Dutch Mantel. I would try to pull in Dutch, an old wily vet. I know Tony tried to acquire Jim Cornette at one point. That was a smart move. Obviously, Corney didn't want to work there, but get a wily old vet. My next choice would be Dutch, but somebody like that who can come in and contribute from an old school perspective. Get somebody from the younger crowd, somebody really young, even like an Orange Cassidy, perhaps, if he's got a creative mind, or somebody from that modern group. Okay, then you want to bring in, I don't know, here on the spot, you know what I mean? You want to have a wide variety is what I'm getting at. Have an old school guy, have a modern guy, have a couple different kind of creative brains, people that would be really smart to the business, and especially smart to the business in their eras, and have those different perspectives and bring those brains into your creative circle and have them kick around story ideas, and you just sit there and fucking decide. You can fucking put them to work and come up with Jimmy Jacobs would be another fantastic. He already works there, and he's already supposedly on that inner circle. He needs to make this official. Have his little round table. Have them come up with shit, and then he can decide. He can veto, you know. And try it like that for a while, because what Tony's doing now is he's running around with his notebook, and look, he's a good matchmaker. He could, and I've even said before, he could still make the matches, but not the storylines. He could say, this is where I want for the pay-per-view. Here's a match I'd like on Dynamite. Here's a match I'd like on Collision. Here's this, and that. You know, he could give them his little notes. They could be a skeleton, if you will. Not even a fucking story arc or anything. Just his, because that's all he's doing is going, this match versus this match will be sweet. And then his storyline is non-existent unless the people involved in the story have creative minds, and then they can contribute their own ideas to it. Darby Allin, very creative guy. Bring him in. He could be that current younger guy I was talking about that could come in instead of like an Orange Cassidy, perhaps. Somebody along those lines. Have them come up with the stories, flesh out the stories, and you can oversee it. Have a meeting every week, every couple of weeks, whatever. Tweak things as you go. Try it, man. You're burning yourself out. Jeff Jarrett. Bring in Jeff Jarrett. There you go. Fuck Dutch Mantel. Not fuck Dutch Mantel, but bring in Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett, Matt Hardy. They already all work there. Jimmy Jacobs already works there. Darby or Orange. Somebody on the young side that already works there. Yourself. And fucking have them come up with the stuff for you. Have somebody book Ring of Honor completely separate all by itself. Maybe that's like a Chris Hero job, right? I guess he's involved. We hear all these people are involved with these things, but what are they actually doing? I'm not seeing a lot of change in the creative. That's the thing. That's the problem. It's the creative. The creative is the problem with AEW right now. Nobody wants to see the shit. When they come to your town, the seats are empty. That's a problem. Why are the seats empty? The seats are empty because there's no reason that people will want to go. And it's not that they don't have all the star power in the world. They have every big star that WWE doesn't. And they have access to more if they want to get more. That's not the problem. The problem is, what are they doing? What's compelling about it? What are you excited to see? When I went, I was excited to see. I've been to 2 AEW shows, and it was CM Punk's return, his very first return, the original, the first dance, like on the second Rampage ever in Chicago, was at that. And then I was at Blood and Guts in Detroit. Both fantastic shows. Fantastic. Top to bottom, awesome shows. Spectacles, but that was the draw. I wanted to see Punk return. That was a story. That was a star. That was something that I wanted to go see. I needed to go see. I wouldn't have gone there to go see, Darby wrestle fucking whoever. You know what I mean? So they needed that. And then the Blood and Guts, obviously, that's a huge spectacle. Of course I want to go see that. So not that they got a hot shot every show and do gimmick matches and stuff, but they got to make you excited to see that product. They got to make the product hot. They need to bring in more creative minds. I think the problem is it's just still Tony Khan deciding everything. I don't know what these other guys are doing behind the scenes, but it does not appear that anything's changing. And yes, I'm interested in things like the Edge storyline. I thought that was good. Him and Christian, right? That's fine. That's good. It's good shit. Christian tells him to go fuck himself. I love that. Great work. Christian's such a great heel. Dude has a fucking 6-pack and wears a turtleneck. It's great. He's such a heel. But not everybody has that because not everybody's creative or has Tony's. They're not main event stars. Bryan Danielson, one of the biggest stars in the entire world, right? WrestleMania 30, it was him holding up 2 belts, defeated everybody. Meh. He's just meh. He's just meh because he's tied up in the Blackpool Combat Club, which way overstayed its welcome, which also buried Claudio, which also buried Moxley. All of these guys should be individual stars. Look, you didn't tune in to hear me rebook the entire territory. Matter of fact, that could be a whole separate video. How to fix AEW. Who knows? I don't fucking know. But the point is, Tony Khan's slipping. He's losing his shit. All right? He's fucking losing it. He's overbooked, overstretched. He's exhausted. He should not be on Twitter while he's exhausted. I'm not for censorship. I'm not saying he needs an intervention, but he might need an intervention. Chill the fuck out, bro. It's like when you break up with your girlfriend and you're heartbroken. The last thing you want to do is go on fucking Facebook or Twitter or whatever and go, I was with you for 10 years. Hey, you cheated on me with him. And you're on this fucking rant for like 5-6. Stop tweeting. You're embarrassing yourself. I'll leave it at that, though, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you team Tony Khan? Is he justified in what he's doing? Is he making a dork of himself, an ass of himself? Is he ruining AEW? Is he overstretched on the booking? Does he need to hire somebody else to do his booking for him or multiple somebody else's? Did you like my creative team that I would string together from the AEW roster already employed? Is there anybody else that you would bring in or add to or switch out? Who's your creative team? If you could put it together, let me know all of that shit down in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button while you're there. Like it or some shit. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. By the way, that meme over there, isn't that shit dope? Isn't that shit dope? You gotta give me a little bit of I'm for hire. You can pay me. Hit me up. I'll do you up, bro. It's just hot. Oh yeah. Thanks for checking out the video. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah. And you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Ooh, yeah. Dig it.